welcome back to another episode of Build with a Plan with Coach David here. And today we are going to talk about why should I buy from you? And we're going to do this in two parts. This episode number 5 is going to be the first part of why should I buy from you? Now, why is this important? Well, a lot of people don't really understand, why do people actually buy from you? Is it your price? Is it your service? Is it your location, convenience? Is it the product you sell? There's a lot of different reasons why people actually buy from you. But this episode, we're going to talk about how we can make sure that people want to buy from you and not your competition. So today we're going to talk about 4 different areas. The first one is identifying what your core strength is. Number 2, understanding the competitive landscape in your industry. And number 3, we're going to talk about gathering feedback. And then we're also going to talk about number 4, identifying your success stories. All right, let's get started here. Identifying what your core strength actually is. Now, you may not know what that is because this gives you a good chance to take a hard look at your business, what you're doing right, and potentially what you are doing wrong. But let's just focus on the positives right now. So what I'd like you to do is list everything that you do. So what do you do for your client? List it out, but also identify some areas of what you do different than your competition. Now, I know this seems like a very basic element of building your business, but it is a key foundational component to making sure that you can set yourself aside from your competition. I mean, let's face it, if you're doing exactly what your competition is doing, then really the only differentiating factor or main differentiating factor is going to be price. And you never want to get into a price comparison when it comes to, dealing with competition. You want to make sure that clients are going to you because you offer more than what your competition actually offers. So the first thing to do is just, like I said, list everything that you do different. Okay, that you do, and perhaps things that you do different. Take a hard look and be honest with yourself. I'm sure you're going to write down stuff like, I have great customer service. I've been in business for 50 years. I've been family owned. I only hire the best employees. But that's not enough. That is expected. So what do you actually do that is different? Do you have different packages than your competition? Or something like that? Do you offer a higher end product than your client? Can you deliver faster than your client or your competition? These are the things that I want you to start looking at and start listing them down. Yes, I want you to take out a piece of paper and a pen, and I want you to start physically listing these things down. It is so much more effective if you put it down on paper and you can look at it. You can review it, you can share it with somebody, but you could also stroke something out and add to it. So that's why it's important for you to put it down on paper. All right, number 2 is understanding the competitive landscape in your industry. And what I'm actually getting at is know what your audience actually wants from you. Let me put it a different way. Are you delivering what your clients want or what you think they want? So understand what it is. Like if you are a painter, right? What is it that your audience or your prospects want from you? If you're dealing with property managers, all they want from you is to be able to go in there, do a quick paint job, and get out so they can move somebody in. That's what they want. They want speed, they want responsiveness, and they want cleanliness so that once you're done, you leave, it looks great. So when the tenants move in, because let's face it, those property managers, the only time they make money is when they are renting that property. But if you are working in a more affluent neighborhood, then that's not what they want. They don't want speed. They don't want that type of stuff. What actually do they want? Do they want you to come in and do a color consultant for them? You know, do they want you to be a bit of an interior designer and come in and talk about, well, if we use this color, then your window coverings can look like this, and maybe you want some throw pillows over here that accent off the paint? That's what you want to know. What exactly does your audience want from you to make sure that you can deliver it? And number 3, we're going to talk about asking for feedback. This is something that a lot of businesses don't do. You need to ask your customers. You need to talk to them. You know, preferably if you do it in person, that is fantastic. It works on 2 levels. One level, it shows that you care, that you're personally reaching out to make sure that they're satisfied with the product or service that you're offering for them. And then the other part of it is that you get direct feedback from your customers. You know, if you're talking to them, you can sense the tone that they're speaking in. You know, if they're super happy with what you're saying, you can hear it in their voice, even though they might not be actually using those words that you're thinking about, right? So that's what you need to be thinking about. How can I get feedback? Now, the best source of understanding what's going on is to go directly to your customers. So another thing that you could do is send out a survey through email. Now, preferably use some sort of CRM or MailChimp or some sort of mail product that allows you to know how many people open them, what's your open rate, what's your click rate, that type of stuff. Then you'll be able to know that if you send out to 250 clients, only 5 of them clicked on it, then maybe you need to do something else. Maybe at that point you start calling them directly, right? Depending on the customers. Okay, you want to get that feedback because they will let you know what you're doing right. But on the other side, they'll let you know that maybe you could do this better next time. So now you know that if this is the problem that a few of your clients talk about, then you can go, well, I need to fix that. Because if I'm not fixing it and my competition is doing something different that doesn't allow that problem to show up, then they have the leg up on you. And that's not what you want. You want to make sure that you are offering the best product and service, especially above your competition. And number 4 is identifying your success stories. It's a little bit like number 3, getting the feedback, but this is how have you helped your clients be successful? Now, this might not be in every business situation. If you're a painter, how are they being successful? Well, perhaps you are a painter that works with realtors or stagers. And if you do a great paint job on time and clean up after yourself, that's how you can make that interior designer or stager more successful. But you want to identify these because these again will highlight what you do and how you do it better than your competition. So again, each one of these areas, we've got to identify your core strength. You want to list everything that you do, hopefully different than your competition. You want to make sure you understand what the competitive landscape is, knowing what your audience actually wants from you. You're going to gather the feedback, and then you're going to identify the success stories. With all this research, and you start putting it together on a piece of paper, okay, at this point, once you've written that stuff down, you can now transfer it onto a document that you can start manipulating and formatting and starting to figure out all the things that highlight you as being different than your competition. And the key thing here is, if there isn't very much that differentiates you from your competition, then you need to figure out what areas throughout this, especially from the feedback, The feedback from your customers, yes, you'll probably get a lot of positive, but you'll probably get some areas that you need to focus on. And again, this is where you can identify secondary problems or pain points that your clients have that you're not serving at this point. You haven't provided a solution for them. And chances are, if you're not providing that solution and your competition is not providing that solution, then maybe this is one of the areas that you can differentiate yourself greatly from your competition. So you need to know what it is that you're doing right, but also areas that you can do improvement in, right? And then you could identify your success stories, and then you can start wrapping that all in together and know for sure how and what makes you different than everybody else. Okay, so that wraps up Why Should I Buy From You Part 1. So please do your homework, make sure you write stuff down, know what your audience wants, gather the feedback, find out what the success stories are, and put it in a document so that you have it there and you can refer to it. And then we'll talk more on Part 2 of this. Why should I buy from you? Until next time, Coach David out.